What is up, everybody? Welcome to the Fantasy Football Show over on the Matt Ramage Show, and we have some great people joining me this season. Actually, this is the first time I've ever done like a show with other people, like besides one time or whatever. So it'll be all season type of show. And yeah, we're talking fantasy football. So, but while we get into this thing, well, first of all, I have to give a quick shout to Quick Trip. All right, sponsors everything on this page. They have Packers points coming out this season. Actually, I think it's starting already. And every dollar you spend at Quick Trip goes toward a point, and you can use those points to win prizes like a truck and all types of Packer merch and all types of stuff. So use the Quick Rewards app and hammer the Packer points. All right. But I want to make a little introduction. We'll start over here with RevTrev. Let everyone know why they should trust you with their fantasy football team and like how you get into this thing and like just about you. Like what do you do?
Yeah, my name is RevTrev. I am the creator of Kempner Sports, and I love fantasy football. So if you want to compete and contend and win a championship, you should listen to my advice. If you don't want to do those things, if you want to lose or struggle or not win championships, then you should listen to other people. So, I mean, that's basically what it comes down to. I've been playing fantasy football for decades. I've won tons of championships. I'm always in the mix. I'm always competing. And I love to help people excel at their fantasy football. I love taking people who've either are beginners or, been in it for a few years, or even people who've been doing it for a while. Like people message me all the time. What would you do here? And I'm like, I love helping people. So that's kind of my quick story. And I've been a Packers fan for decades, and I love the Pack, but I don't make that mess up my fantasy football stuff. So
Yeah, see, that's a tough part for me. So your YouTube channel is RevTrev?
no, my YouTube channel is Kempner Sports.
All right, yeah. That's
Yeah,
what it
and I
is.
do Packers content and fantasy football content on there.
There you go. And in the description, I have the name to his YouTube channel. But now let's bring in Dakota over here. Let them know who you are, why they should trust you. Early.
Yeah, my name's Dakota Mitchell. I've also been doing fantasy football for, I think actually I got the Yahoo gave me the alert, said it was like entering my 19th season with them, and I believe that's the first site I ever used for it back in the day. So I've been playing for about 19, 20 years, I guess. I used to write for Fantasy Pros for some years. One of my things I like to tell people is that I've only ever lost money 1 year out of those 19 years. So every other time I've ended up net positive. So
Yeah, no, that's not the case for me. I'll let you guys know my expertise in fantasy football. I had LaDainian Tomlinson one year and won the whole thing on like a Yahoo free league. And then
There
I
you go.
just was like, that's it. It's a wrap. I'm retiring on top. I shut it down. And I played a couple years here and there with like the in-laws, and I don't even think I pay attention to my lineup. So this year I'm definitely paying attention because I'm not gonna. It's for money, and I'm not gonna. That's the thing. I never wanted to join a fantasy league unless I was all in because I don't want to. Other people are playing. Nobody wants that one dude who just is playing people on buys and stuff. But so I thought I'd jump back in it, but then I realized I don't know what I'm doing. So I'm like, how can I get help? I don't want to just ask someone. I'll start a show, find some smart people that know stuff about fantasy football, and I'll use them to my advantage. But I think this is going to be a fun show. I got a lot of shows for the people listen on the podcast. Monday, I'm going to be talking about Sunday Night Football or like Sunday games, and then Monday Night Football. Tuesday, we're doing this fantasy show every week at 8 p.m. Central Time. Wednesday, I'll be doing my Pick'em show. Thursday, we're bringing back trivia for Cheeseheads, but that'll probably be like next week. But I got a great program. Do that game is going to be lit, bro. It's going to be so fun. All right, but let's get into to the chat. So who wants to start? Like, what do we got in the agenda? I'm gonna let you guys take a little bit control of the show, and like for everyone who's listening or watching, it's gonna get better. Like we're gonna have. I've never done a fantasy show before, so like I'm kind of like just trying to figure this thing out. But this show is going to be awesome. Next week we'll have better graphics too, probably. But we're gonna figure this thing out. But what do you guys want to talk about?
Well, I think first we were going to talk about your roster.
Oh yeah. So you want to talk about my roster? All right, I'll bring it up here. Hopefully people can see it. All right. I wish I could make this better because there's a whole blank on the other side. But we got Lamar Jackson.
If they full screen it, they can see it well. So you might want to just
full screen. And
depends on what you're watching on, probably.
Yeah, and next week I'll figure it out better because I do want to talk about it. I don't want to make the whole thing about my fantasy team, but I do want help on my fantasy team. And then people in the comments. All right, that's another thing. I will bring people in from the chats. If you have questions for your team, whatever you want to help me with my team, throw in the comments, and I'll try to bring a lot of those questions up for the boys. I won't try to help you. Don't worry. You don't want my advice. But like my big thing right now, right, is Kelsey got hurt, right? Let's see. Maybe I can zoom this in a little bit. I don't know if that will help.
Yeah.
You're gonna miss a little. Yeah, because I'll just scroll down.
Yeah, scroll. Yeah.
Oh yeah, here we go.
There we go.
Anyways, all right. Dude, scrolling it. Okay, I gotta scroll over here. All right, here we go. So, but with Kelsey getting hurt, or like obviously, yeah, he's hurt. Like people don't know if he's gonna play. If they're talking about it, probably not. Like I'm thinking, like the extended knee, like or hyperextended knee. I don't like that. It hurts me. My knee just gets sore thinking about it. But so like what I did, right? I went and got his backup, who I believe is his backup, Gray. I don't know a lot about the Chiefs team. I ain't gonna lie. Besides like MVS and like Patrick Mahomes, a couple. But is that a good idea or what are we thinking?
I think that's a solid play. Do you have any other tight ends though on your roster? You scroll up.
I have Kraft. I don't know.
Yeah, Tucker Kraft.
Yeah, but he's like on the. I don't even know what taxi means, but he's down there. And I couldn't put anyone else on taxi. I'm not real smart, and I've never definitely used this app before.
Well, I can teach you about taxi. So basically, it's rookies, or it depends on how your league set up.
Oh,
so basically, what it means is first or second year players. It's usually just first year players. You can put them in that role so you can have them because they develop. Because at the end of the day, I think it's a dynasty league, and because you don't have taxi squad if you're not in a dynasty league.
Yeah.
So putting Kraft there is fine. I would suggest trying to pick up some guys that are rookies from other teams, and then you can throw them on the taxi squad. But in regards to Kraft being your solution for this year, I mean, we'll have to see how he plays. Too bad you didn't get Musgrave. That would have been a really great one.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like Musgrave he's going to be that dude. Kraft is going to get his shots, but like he's not going to take it to the championship.
But your team is actually quite solid. Is it a 10-team or a 12-team league?
It's 10-team.
Okay, yeah, it looks like a 10-team league, and because you have like stacked spots throughout your whole starting roster, right? And but the key is having depth on the bench, and you have some depth there for sure, like Penny, Elliott, depending on what happens there with the strength. But you also have Stevenson, so you've got that handcuff there in case one of those guys goes down. You also have the handcuff for the Philadelphia Eagles, which that's excellent. But you have Diggs is a stud wide receiver. Mike Evans, everyone's quiet on him. I don't know, Dakota, how you feel about him, but he just keeps producing every year. And I know it's Baker Mayfield, but I had to start Baker Mayfield last year in the playoffs, and I won weeks with him. So I don't know how it happened. I even made a video on that because I'm like, how did this happen, right? So what do you think, Dakota?
I think Evans has been slipping in a lot of drafts, and I think that he's been a good late-round pickup. My concern with Evans is, he's coming up, I believe it's a contract year for him, and I'm a little concerned that if things aren't going right, they're going to try to trade him, and then you don't know what that situation is going to be for him, after a mid-season trade if that happens. But, I mean, where he's fallen in drafts, it's usually worth the risk, I would say.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I was actually pretty excited about him. Like I said, like the last couple of years, like I've been doing this Packer content, and like I was doing like the live shows and all that. Like during the game. And so like I miss a lot of games. Like I'm kind of like out of like and like who like as far as fantasy goes, like I know the guys, like I watch the games, but I don't see as many like other teams as I used to. When the Packers are playing, like I'm busy. I don't flip, I'm not watching red zone, I'm not flipping back and forth or whatever. So I'm a little bit an idiot.
No, I think you got a good team. I do think that Gray's probably the right pickup for you because you showed us who the other tight ends were. And the thing is you need a tight end to start, right? And I wouldn't trust Kraft week 1 until I see something.
Yeah, that's kind of what I was thinking.
Yeah.
And no, go ahead.
Yeah. So in the chat, Lambo said that he doesn't think that Gray is worth the pickup because Kelsey's targets should go to the wide receivers. I think that's a very valid point.
I do
but
think
you didn't see what the other tight ends were. It's really bad.
Yeah.
In fact, people like Dalton Kincaid's not there, Musgrave's not there. Yeah, so I think McBride was there. Was one. I mean, you sent it to us, so we can just kind of
the best option aside. Yeah, from that, but you don't even know who's going to really be. The quarterback situation in Arizona is questionable at best.
Well, the reason why I think it's decent. Sorry, Dakota, but the reason why I think it's okay. Like I'm like Lambo. I don't like the idea of Gray going in there. But what happens is on Thursday night, you're going to be watching the game, and so you'll be leading up to it. You're going to get a report whether Kelsey's playing or not, and then at least you have another guy that you can slot in there.
Yeah,
and he can go right now, and you're not worried like, oh, is this tight end that's like McBride? Is he even gonna what's he gonna do? You got, you know what I mean? So if Dawson Knox is available, then I would be like, pick him up. And
I can check real quick. I could actually look right here. We got
actually you can go into it, because there's Logan Thomas is there available, McBride, and then if you have Dawson Knox, I don't know if I trust Noah Fant. Mike Gesicki is questionable. I don't even know if he's going to play. He would be a good ad, but he wouldn't be great.
That's the thing. Like with it seems like with tight ends, like if they're not the superstars, like they're not like they're going to have their games here and there, but like the tight ends is tough with fantasy. I have no idea.
Well, yeah, and historically, rookie tight ends struggle, right?
Right.
I do have it written in my notes with Lambo. I have literally written Sky Moore, beneficiary of Kelsey being out. So I do agree that the Kelsey targets, because his targets are not traditional tight end targets, right?
Yeah,
it's going to go to the wide receivers most of it. But just looking at what the options were for you to pick up, I think I would have probably gone Gray as well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, well, I did that because like I was sitting there and I had a lot of guys. Like I have so many guys. So we had a 21 round draft, and I was just like, I'm just gonna go look to see if his backup's there because I didn't even know who it was because like I'm not a Chiefs fan. Like I don't know the whole Chiefs team. And then like he's there. I was like, I'll just grab him real quick just in case. And then if I decide later, if I ask you guys, you say no, I just figure it out. I just get someone else. But,
is Lambo in your league?
Yeah.
Okay, so he just said Knox got dropped. So that's someone. I think you have to wait till tomorrow or the next day.
Yeah, you can put
someone on the pickup if I was you.
All right.
And Packernet responded there. You put that he needs fantasy help. So I'm glad he's here because this is the exact same scenario he's probably in. But I'm a huge fan of Packernet podcast. And hey, man, just DM me. We're already friends on Twitter, so I can help you as well.
Yeah, he's the absolute legend.
He's a stud.
Absolutely.
So, what are we thinking? All right, I don't want to keep dwelling in here, but like I drafted Lamar Jackson, and I told some people at work, and they were kind of giving me a hard time about that because
just go back to your team there so people can see it.
Yeah, sorry. I got a team here. I'm not sure if they can see it real good. I'm trying to zoom in on this.
Yeah. Sorry, you were saying Lamar Jackson, that people are giving you a hard time about that?
Yeah, because, injuries and all that. Obviously, we don't know, like, what he's going to be. All right. No, I'm on the wrong thing here. I'm trying to bring it back to my...
One of those ones, those weird ones there. It's probably that one. Or the next one over it.
Yeah, because this is my matchup.
Yeah, there you go.
All right, here we go. Lamar Jackson, though, what are you guys feeling about him this year? Like, who do you see as like the top quarterback? I mean, obviously, like we know, like Patrick Mahomes, all the guys. But like, first of all, let's stick with my team, Lamar Jackson. What do you think of Lamar Jackson fantasy?
Well, I'm a huge fan of him potential wise. Being the MVP a few years ago, he has the potential to do that again, and he's never had wide receiver depth like he had this year. The challenge with Lamar is he's a hit or miss guy. So there was twice last year he had over 40 fantasy points by himself. So that's going to just help your league. But then he had a bunch of weeks that he had 13, 14, 15, 16 points. And that just hurts because you need a quarterback that's getting about 20 plus average to really be like always competitive and always working there. But he has, when you have the window of a 40-point guy, like that's winning week kind of guy. So I know that people are nervous about his health. We understand he's like the joystick Michael Vick, Madden player, right?
And just fun to watch.
I'm in because really at the end of the day, who's better than him in potential wise? I mean, I love Justin Herbert. I kind of have them in the same spot, but I have Justin Fields way lower than Lamar Jackson. I have Lamar Jackson in the just below the Hurts and Mahomes and Josh Allen era there, and then I also like Joe Burrow there. But I don't know, he's right there with those guys. So I'm all in on it on him. See, so I think it's good.
I think like the worst thing with me is I'm probably the worst fantasy football player because I refuse to draft anyone on a team that I don't want to root for. Like most of my team is like AFC or like Packers. Like my quarterbacks are Lamar Jackson. I got Russell Wilson and Jordan Love. And Russell Wilson was real late. So all my quarterbacks are kind of like Lamar. I think is more dependable, but the other ones are kind of like let's wait and see because Jordan Love's first year being the guy. Russell Wilson like last year, and that was so late. Like I forget what round it was, but there was 21 rounds, and it was like pretty late over there. And but I'm not sure. We'll find out because I actually wanted to get because I knew that I wanted to kind of get Jordan Love because if he pops off, I would love to have him and just flex, like Jordan Love, baby, you know what I mean? But I wanted Lamar, so I wanted to get like a passing quarterback. I got Russell Wilson. So I'm not sure what he's going to do this year, but I wouldn't be surprised if he surprised some people because I think obviously he's done it before. But last year was tough.
Yeah, I mean, last year's got to be kind of rock bottom for Russell Wilson, right? Sean Payton's there now, which I think helps him a lot. Judy apparently is already kind of nicked up again, but Javonte Williams will be back, and I think that Javonte is going to open things up for them if he's healthy. I think that Peyton's going to use him a lot like Peyton used Kamara. So, one, I'm already higher on Javonte than I think the consensus, but I think that helps Russ, gives him an outlet, and it should be better than. I mean, we read all the stuff that happened with that coaching staff last year.
Yeah.
So it's got to be a positive regression. Whether I don't expect Russ to be Russ of a couple years ago when he was a stud, but he's got to be decent.
Yeah, he's got to be better.
I also think that there's positive regression for Lamar this year. I think he'll be a little bit more consistent. I have him as my number 5 QB. Looking at my list, so same place with Joe Burrow, Justin Herbert, right in there. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. This is one of the best wide receiver cores that he's had. I really like Bateman. He's coming off the Liz Frank, so hopefully he's going to be better. Obviously, they got OBJ. They got Zay Flowers. I mean, they've got some guys. And J.K. Dobbins is a good receiving back, and he's healthy this year too. So I think that it's going to be a positive, more consistent year for Lamar.
Mm-hmm.
So look, I want to bring up this comment right here because hang on, is this the right one? Yeah, not that one, but I agree. I think he'll be all right. But 3 quarterback league, all right? Because like I haven't drafted in a long time, and this is like a draft like I've never done before, and I think it's cool because I'll learn a lot this year about like the different stuff. But like, what is a dynasty league?
Yeah.
You want to handle that one?
Yeah, I'm happy to handle that. So
It's
You already started on it
simplified.
earlier, so I'll let you keep going on it.
So Matt, the dynasty league is you get to keep those players every year to year. So you picking Jordan Love in a dynasty league is brilliant.
All
Right?
right, there we
You
go.
could probably even put him on the taxi squad depending on what your league rules are. And if you can do that, then you can add another bench player in to your team. So dynasty is, depending on how your league is set up. Most dynasty leagues is you keep every single player that's on that team, right? So you have it for year to year to year to year to year. So I think you going with Lamar Jackson as your starter, and then you have Wilson and Wilson and Love as your backups. That's great. Why he's probably complaining is because it's a one quarterback league, starting league, and you have three quarterbacks. He's probably suggesting that that's bad strategy, but I would say in dynasty it's not. In fact, in my dynasty leagues, I have Jordan Love on every single roster, just because of what you just said. If he pops off and becomes if he becomes a Pro Bowler, you got him for nothing.
Yeah.
It's so hard to get a Pro Bowl quarterback. So who knows what's going to happen there? But I think that's a really smart move on your part, and it doesn't hurt you. Worst case scenario, you drop him, right?
Yeah, they're just saying Texas rookie only.
Okay, well, that's perfect. So,
which makes sense because Kraft was the only one that popped up as the option to throw on there. But I'm clueless with this.
Yeah, so that's dynasty. You get to keep them for forever. Keepers, the difference is it's usually limited on how many you can keep, and it's going to be because I asked you first if it was a keeper or dynasty. So keeper league, the league rules will usually say you can keep maybe 3 guys or whatever it is. Generally, there's a cost associated with them. Sometimes there's not, but it might be the round you drafted them in or the auction value. And then that cost might go up every year that you keep them, or it might just be you're only allowed to keep them 1 year in a row. But sometimes they say you can keep him 3 years, but each year he goes up $5 or goes up around whatever it is. So that's the difference between keeper and dynasty. Then redraft is a completely new team every year.
I have no idea. I've only played regular draft leagues, and then at the end you all tell each other to go to hell and you move on with your life. So,
right.
All right. So you want to go back to this? All right. Let's see. So what do you think about my wide receivers over here? I'm not even sure if I have this. Yeah, because we talked about Evans, but what about George Pickens?
I'm very high on George Pickens this year.
Love it,
especially in a dynasty.
Yeah. Right. Oh yeah. Yeah, because he's young.
Yeah, he's second-year guy. I mean, he's been putting up highlights all through camp. I mean, just ridiculous catches. This guy's got glue for hands, and I mean, Pickett's looked better too. So I think there's a lot of potential there.
Well, and the cool thing about him is not only is it a dynasty league, and that's a great pick for you. I'm in redraft leagues, and I'm targeting him because I think he's just way too low. And it's not Deontay Johnson. I was really high on him last year, and he never even scored a touchdown. Where Pickens is, he's got special quality, and we'll see what he does, of course, but he'll have value in your league in case you need to trade him or whatever. That's a great pick. So you should be, Matt, just pat yourself on the back right now. Okay. Well done.
Yeah. It's funny because when I drafted it, I didn't even know what dynasty means. I kept seeing the word, and I just drafted
this is awesome.
Like I would normally draft, but
we're here to help, man. We're here to help. So
absolutely.
All right, let's scroll through here real quick. Let me see.
But there in the chat, there's a number of people making suggestions in Facebook chat and also YouTube. But they're saying TJ Hawkinson for your tight end issues or Kyle Pitts. Guys, those guys aren't around. We mentioned that. Just a heads up. So it's really bad.
Yeah, I mean, because you saw how big the bench is, right? You're scrolling through right now. It's a large bench. So this team, it's filled out. The roster's filled out. You're not going to have your regular guys that are in your waiver wires for most of your leagues. They're not there right now.
Okay, yeah. One thing I forgot. I had a trade offer, and
Okay.
I didn't want to talk about it yet, because he said, "Hey, I got a trade," but I want to ask you guys what you think. Even when I was doing fantasy, like every year, I sucked at trades. So,
not anymore.
This is a big trade. All right. So for Kelsey, he wants to give. Let's see if I can bring this up bigger. All right, here it is. Can you guys see that good?
Mm-hmm.
All right. So here we go. So for Kelsey, he wants to give. I'll let you guys figure it out. Tell me.
Yeah. So Foreman, Judy, this tight end, like it looks like he's trying to help you out. He's not. He's trying to rip you off. He's offered you a whole bunch of junk for the best tight end in the league, and I understand what he's trying to do. Lambo, listen, we're on to you, buddy. You're not getting this. You got to come up with way more. I'm just telling you right now that a lot of people have. I've been listening to people getting trade offers right now for Kelsey. I've been hearing people offering Bijan for Kelsey. Like, this is like top end guy here. So you gotta like, this isn't even close, man. So let's go. And I know you're trying to rip them off. So
this is dynasty, right? So we're looking at essentially like a rookie draft. And so the 3rd round pick is not that special.
Right?
No. I always assume, like, even like when I was playing fantasy all the time, I always assume anyone who was trying to trade at me was just trying to screw me. Because, like, why would they trade if it didn't help them? And I figured, like, there's very few times when it's, like, beneficial to both, especially when it's your 1st round pick. No one's like, yeah, I'll give you all my best picks for your first. So, yeah, I always assume.
And it's true, Matt. Yeah, it's a good point. I've done a couple trading videos last year, and one of my premises, 85% of trade offers that come in are just instant reject. Like, this one is just an instant reject, right? It's not even, in my opinion, it's not even worth a counter offer. That's how bad it is. But I mean, it's his prerogative to do that. There's nothing wrong with him sending that to you, but you're right. You have to be careful and say, well, why does this guy? And then what happens in trade negotiations, what they try to do is they try to bash your players. And they're like, well, he's crap, or, he's old, or and it's like, well, then why do you want him? So don't fall into the tactics of all it's like car salesman, like, oh man, we'll give you whatever you want for this vehicle right now. You trade in, yeah, we're going to give you tons of value. You're like, okay, cool, I'm going to trade my car. And it's like, well, it needs this and needs that. And you're like, I thought you just said you wanted it. So when it came down, right? So it's similar. So just be careful with that. But now that you have Dakota and I, we'll make a fair deal. If you want to move Kelsey, I don't mind you doing that as long as you get fair market price for him.
Yeah, like when I first saw, like, I think that's what makes fantasy fun. People ask you some wild trades. I usually, like, even when I say when I was playing, I usually just ignored, declined all, because I figured I wasn't smart enough, and I'd rather have a trash team than get screwed over by someone that flourishes after my trade. Right. I don't want to be the reason everyone's mad. Like, why are you so stupid? I don't know. Right. That's just what I do.
But okay, so Lambo's in here, right? And he just posted that comment. And it's like, oh, this is the opening negotiation. Like, you're wasting your time and Matt's. Why would Matt do anything with that trade offer? I know that I'm passionate about this. I've been in so many. I mean, Dakota, you must have seen lots of bad trades. Like, you're literally wasting your time. Don't start with initial offer that no one's ever going to even consider. You have to, if you want to be a good owner, send something that's at least like, oh, it's going to spark my interest. Like, you obviously don't want to give out your best offer, but you're giving your worst offer. Like, you didn't even include a 1st round draft pick. You didn't include anyone of value. Judy's hurt. What are you doing? Right? Sorry, I'm all over him right now. But I appreciate you because you're a Packers fan. But
look at look who you're trading with roster. Look at their needs, right? I mean, you don't really have a second tight end. Chimezie is an upside swing at tight end, but I mean, when you're giving up Kelsey and you don't have a backup tight end, you need more than an upside swing as your backup tight end, right? To fill in, to be your starting tight end now.
I think, because I told everyone I haven't played fantasy in like 10 years. He's like, let's see what happens. Maybe he's been drinking. He has. All right, I'm off tomorrow. but
Right.
I'm still not gonna do it. You know what I mean? But
Yeah.
all right.
But
So
it just said Chris just said in the chat that he sent you a better offer. So go check and see if you got an offer.
all right.
This would be
Let's
fun
see.
live response.
Yeah, we could just
Yeah.
end Chris's career too.
All right. I think this is where. Oh, look at that. He's over here. All right. So where's the trade offers? I don't know if this is.
So if you go back to
Okay.
your team,
Okay, go
I
back to my
believe
team.
that.
All right. Where? How did I get out? Okay, here we go. Let's go over here. Start over.
See that little orange button or
Oh, there we
button
go.
there? Click on that.
All right.
And now, can you full screen that for us?
Yeah, bring that up big.
All right. Let me see. That good?
It's not that. You actually had to put
No,
it
like
on
switch
there.
with you.
We got it on your face
Oh,
instead of the trade offer.
I'm sorry. I was on the other page. Only got one screen for
Yeah.
now. All
Good.
right, here we go.
Yeah, come on, guys. You got to guys like. Yeah. This is a better trade offer because the other one's so bad, but this. Like there's nothing to value. So someone's going to give you a first round pick. No, thanks.
Yeah.
Yeah, no,
It's rough out here.
Like we said, we talked about your roster construction. He's not looking at your roster construction, or maybe we mentioned that too late before we made the trade. But I mean, you're in a major pickle if you don't have a tight end, right? You have to have a tight end, and right now your best tight ends Noah Gray or Tucker Kraft. So
yeah, well, that's why you don't make trades, Lambo.
I ain't mad at it, dude. You got to shoot your
No,
shot.
well,
you know what I mean?
I'm just saying it's just a waste of his time and yours. So if he wants to waste his own time, great.
mm-hmm.
If I was like
now,
if that offer came to me,
time.
I just reject. I wouldn't respond, and you just move on for the day, right?
Yep.
Yeah. Well, that's what I would have done anyways, because I generally I'm not gonna trade my first round pick anyways, no matter what. Especially like he's gonna come back, like he's hurt, but
I send new offers.
Yeah, I'd rather suck than get screwed in a trade. That's how I. So let's get to this comment. Jason says, Matt, have wisdom when you make a trade with anyone and do your research on each player. If it doesn't look good, then don't do it. But that's the thing. That's why I started the show, because I'm
he's doing his research on the show.
Yeah, no, I thought the funny thing is like why I started the show was because like. They said, hey, you want to join a league? And at first I was like, no. But now I was like, it might be fun because I've done it a long time. I think it'd be cool to talk about. And then when I posted about it, everyone's like, who would you draft first? And like, people were asking questions like, oh, people actually care. So like, I should do a show. So I made a post. You guys responded to it. And then here we are. So like, let's help some other people besides me. Who are some people, right? Some people who might be available that people don't know about, like maybe like people who aren't, on a lot of leagues or whatever. And who do you think that people can grab that might be available in their league? And it might not be, because people get all mad when they mention someone like it's not in my league. Like, all right, well, in a lot of other leagues, but like,
yeah, I mean, all we can do is look at if it's like under 50% of the leagues available, then that's something we can mention, right? It's going to be different for every league, and like your league, for instance, it's got a large bench. It's going to be much different for your league.
Yeah.
But I guess since we were talking about Travis Kelce, Sky Moore is actually available in like 52% of ESPN leagues right now, which I think is ridiculous. I just looked that up, and if Sky Moore is available, I'd pick him up immediately. One, not just because Kelsey's injured, but two, I mean, they got MVS, they got Tony and Sky Moore. Tony's always hurt. MVS, as Packer fans, we know he's a talented guy. He's a deep threat. He's inconsistent. Sky Moore, his average yards per target last year was 8.5, which might sound, that's really low. But in this case, I'm more interested in that than I am in MVS, because MVS is your home run guy, and they don't have anybody for those intermediate routes. He's the guy right now. So I like Sky Moore in a PPR, especially because I feel like he's going to be gobbling up targets, especially in games where Kelsey's not 100% or he's just not there playing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Who do you got?
Yeah, so I've got a guy who's now being drafted. He's not on, but if he's on a waiver wire, and we're going to kind of go into this, but it's Deion Jackson is a guy that should be on every single roster. I've been looking. Some of my leagues they don't have him. I don't know what his rate is there, Dakota, because I don't have that in front of me. But that's a guy that I would be picking up like right now.
And I feel the same way about Evan Hull. I feel like you got to get him as well. So both of the Indianapolis running backs, right? We know what's going on with Jonathan Taylor. He's out minimum 4 weeks. Most likely, according to Jonathan Taylor's camp, the relationship is severed, right? So he's not going to be there. Do they get somebody in return that comes in? Maybe. Usually they don't. Usually you just get picks, right? So it's going to be Deion Jackson, Evan Hull, and then what's the other running back they got?
The Zach Moss is there too,
Zach Moss, right? They got Zach Moss this year. I like Evan Hull. I mean, he was a stud at Northwestern. He put up like 1,500, 1,600 all-purpose yards the last 2 seasons, I think, both of them. He had like a 35% dominator rating or more in back-to-back years in college football. So young guy, that's a guy you can throw on your taxi if you have a dynasty. So that's another positive for him. And he looked good in the preseason. I think in the final preseason game, he averaged 4.2 yards a carry. So I like Evan Hull too. Deion Jackson as well, though. I think that both those guys, until we know more, got to be rostered.
Yeah. And I think like as the season goes on, obviously like you like start to see who's popping, who's not. But let me ask you this: who on the Green Bay Packers is worth having on your roster?
Well, it depends what league you're in. But if you're talking like your league in a dynasty league, there's a lot of guys, right? Like obviously Christian Watson and Aaron Jones must-haves. A lot of people have AJ Dillon on their teams, right? But when it comes to dynasty, I think Dobbs is a guy you want on your roster. You want Musgrave on your roster because, I mean, worst case scenario is you drop them if they're not good.
Yeah,
they have potential to be great.
Reed.
Yeah, Reed.
Oh yeah, good point.
But if it's redraft, I think the 3 guys, 4 that you definitely need is Watson, Jones, and then Dillon and Dobbs as well. Usually at the end of your bench, I think they should be rostered in all leagues. Whether that means it's on you, depending on where your picks were, but I think that they should be guys I like with high upside.
Yeah, I actually wanted Dobbs, but it didn't happen for me. But like I would have drafted all Packer players. Like I ain't gonna lie. Like I was more concerned. Like I know you guys are like serious fantasy guys, but like I can't. That's one reason I stay away from fantasy for a little bit because I have a hard time. Like if you have like Justin Jefferson. I'm like, I have to root for the Vikings. And then you know what happens? What happens to me? I will root, like, even if it's like the Vikings win this game, the Packers make the playoffs, or it's just somehow beneficial to the Packers. I'll root for them, and then they'll choke. I'm like, now you got me feeling like a Viking fan over here, just getting choked on. And like, I it's very hard. So I was like, I really didn't have a problem with this draft because I didn't pass on somebody like that was stupid to pass on. I don't think. Like Jefferson was gone, like first pick. Like there wasn't guys like I was like, oh, I should take him, but like, oh, I'm not gonna because I'm a Packer fan. But like, I wasn't going to anyways because I'm not gonna ruin my Sundays having to root for like the Lions or something, and like
right.
Even if it's not the
problem is though, Matt, and I agree with you. It's very difficult as a fan to do that, but you have to separate yourself in those moments because you want to win a championship. So there's 2 things that like people. Okay, so one is not 2 things, but one is when someone gets to be too much of a homer, they lose leagues.
Yeah.
Right? So you're not doing that. Like you picked Jones at a respectable spot there. Do you have another Packer on the team? I don't know if you have another Kraft, that's fine. It doesn't
Yeah, I
matter.
have Kraft, and
But you're not loaded. I mean, you have Jordan Love on a dynasty. That's
I
fine.
think your audio is tweaking out.
Yeah, I was trying to figure out if that was my speakers or not.
Yeah, you got something going on with your audio because I can hear him good. But yeah, like look at this at back to my team. All right. I think all I have is I got Jordan Love. I do have Jamal Williams. Obviously not a Packer, but he used to be.
I think it's Jamal Williams is a good, especially with how deep your roster is. I think he's a fine pick to have.
Yeah, and I got Thielen because he left. He's not in the Vikings no more, so I can have him. But yeah, I don't have anyone else. I'm actually surprised because like going into that draft, I was thinking like, dude, I don't care. I will draft everybody, but it didn't turn out that way. I wasn't gonna draft stupid, like obnoxiously. But I'm all for it.
When it comes to drafting your fantasy, obviously you got to kind of forget about that. I do like to advise people though, if it comes down to pretty even players, there's nothing wrong with taking your guy, somebody that you like to root for, and generally that's a team that he plays for your team. But sometimes maybe he was played for your college team or whatever, and there's nothing wrong with that. That's part of the fun of fantasy football, and at the end of the day, it is entertainment. A lot of us maybe gamble too much money on it than we should, and it's maybe a little bit more than entertainment, But there's nothing wrong with taking your guy if it's in the right spot, and
yeah, because
if it comes down to picking Dobbs or Christian Kirk or something, and you want to risk it, I don't know, that's fine.
Yeah, like I couldn't. Like I get it, like players from like not the Vikings or the Bears. Like I could never like watch Justin Fields have a 40-yard scamper and me in my living room jumping up and down. Like that's not gonna happen.
Yeah, I don't ever root for those guys when I'm playing them and they're playing the Packers. But what I am rooting for is that my Packers offense is gonna outscore them. I'm like, hey man, if they are gonna score, it better be Justin Fields, right?
Yeah.
And also we better march right back down there and score more.
You know what's funny? One year, my son, he actually likes Justin Fields, right? So he has Justin Fields on his team last year. I think it was last year. And he's playing the Packers. He's got a little scamper. He's running down the field. And I was just so mad. I just looked at him because I knew he's on his team. And he was just like straight face, like,
this is your fault.
He wasn't celebrating because he's a Packer fan, but I was like, dude, that's rough. Anyways, I can't do it. I just can't do it. I'm too much of a homer. I am.
I hear you. The problem is that you've now eliminated 3 teams that you can't have players from. So
Yeah.
it just is bad fantasy strategy, like Dakota's saying. But like, for example, when usually in a draft, it was like Christian Watson or DJ Moore. And it's like, I'm picking Watson because they're similar.
Yeah.
But the cool thing is if Rodgers was still in Green Bay, Watson was going around earlier than that. But because he's not, you're getting him at a discount. And that is the nice thing about it. So, yeah. But I like some of these comments in here that like people are giving you some good advice. I love this one, Joey. Fantasy team name brings you championships. I had my mic muted. I laughed out loud on that one. That was a good one. Well done, man.
I was actually trying to think of a good team name, and I couldn't think of one, so it's Team Ramage.
Yeah, so I did.
That's a pretty bad.
Yeah, I mean, I think maybe I'll just let the chat at some point. Maybe next week we'll do a thing where people can pick my team name, and I'll rename it. Like I don't care what the team name is, but I want to be creative and something good. Like I was thinking, and I was just like, you know what? I'm just gonna go with Team Ramage for now.
Yeah,
creative skills have been cut off.
Yeah, like one of my leagues, I called my team Love Island because I have Jordan Love, and it's a 2 quarterback starting, and I'm starting them this week just for fun.
I have one of my teams is La Porta Potty.
That's awesome, Dakota.
Yeah, what are some names that my team could be? Like they got
the Quad Fathers. I like that one. That's a good one. Alexander's shutdown team. I don't know about that. You need to work on that one a bit.
Yeah, we could work.
Yeah, I think it would have to be
Quad Fathers
like
are awesome. You just need Dylan probably.
Yeah, you probably need Dylan on your team.
But
for that.
we got
let's do that for next one.
If it's going off of Jair Alexander, I think we're Packers shut down corner. I mean, he just said Strap City, right? So you could be Strap City.
Oh yeah.
Also, obviously we got Jaw Money and Jaw Island. I have a shirt on my store that's Jaw Island Resort and Spa.
Nice.
I don't know.
He'll probably make that a business after his career's over.
Yeah.
It'll be oh, look at this. We got Ramage Island.
That sounds like a horror movie, but
it does. Sounds like a bad vacation.
Yeah, that's like a knockoff Shutter Island.
Yeah, it's kind of like if I was on vacation with the wife and I was just like, for this weekend, this is Ramage Island. And then she just jumps in the water and drowns.
Right. Well, I think, Matt, your idea of like let's get the chat to do it next week and we'll vote on it. I think they're doing a poll and it would be awesome on Twitter and just get it going. Or I don't know, you kind of want it in a Packers group though.
Yeah, like what I could do is get next week, I'll say we'll break down, we'll ask people for suggestions. We'll take 3 of them, make a poll on Twitter, on my Facebook. On Facebook, we can get a good poll and then see what people pick, and whatever it is, hopefully it's not too vulgar. I got sponsors.
But this one is Riding in My Lambo. That's an awesome one that Timothy did on Facebook. That's really good.
It is good.
Yeah. So
we
might not even make it to next week. You got some good suggestions here. So well done, chat.
That's a really good one. Is there anything else you guys want to touch on today? I know you guys had some notes. Did we cover everything?
I do have a couple of other guys that I think if they're out there, they're worth picking up that are available in waivers, especially if you have a guy like Jeff Wilson who just got hurt, or obviously, you got Kelsey and maybe he'll end up being able to be put on your IR spot for at least a week. If they rule him out, you can move him there and then you open up a spot, then you can take a swing on some guys and some guys I like that are available. Tank Dell, for one, he's available in a lot of leagues. I mean, this guy is a target hog. He's very QB friendly, and that's what D'Amico and them have been saying as well. And a QB friendly guy that can get a lot of targets is perfect for a rookie QB, right? So I like Dell. He was nicked up and missed the third preseason game, but he's healthy now. He's practiced on Monday, so should be good. Also, and this guy's been in my leagues. I've been seeing him go at the very end, but according to ESPN, he's still available in like 60% of leagues, and that's Jaylen Warren. I think there's a good chance that he's going to take over the lion's share of carries midway through the season. So if you can stash him, I'd stash him on my team. He had 4.9 yards per carry last year in 2022. And in the preseason, they only had him working with the first team. Him and Najee were on with the first team, and both of them sat as soon as the first team sat. So that just shows you that they already care about him that much. And I'm seeing Najee go up there as one of the top running back ones, when it already looks like he's at least in a committee to me. Mm-hmm. So I'm lower on Najee and I'm higher on Jaylen Warren, and Jaylen Warren's barely getting drafted. So
yeah.
So back when I was doing fantasy, it was all running back because there was a lot of solo running back. Now it's all by committee. Are there any teams who are the teams the running backs who are getting those most carries? Who's your top guy? I mean, obviously the top. Most people already drafted anyways, but there might be a couple out here that didn't.
Yeah, I'm drafting tonight, right? So there's a couple people still drafting tonight and tomorrow. Bell cow running backs would definitely be McCaffrey, Eckler, Barkley, Chubb, Josh Jacobs, Henry, Pollard probably is on there, Bijan Robinson. And then after that, it starts getting a little iffy, Travis Etienne. Mixon's probably still considered a bell cow. Aaron Jones, we like to think that it's a share, but last year Dylan didn't have good yards, but he had great touchdowns. He had 7 touchdowns. So it'll be interesting to see how they mix those two up. Plus, having Emmanuel Wilson now, that guy he seems spectacular. So I think they're going to add him in too. So
yeah.
But
Ramondre
Stevenson's
pick if you got large rosters, honestly, and put him on the taxi.
Like Dakota, do you think like Cam Akers would probably be another one, right?
I think Cam Akers is due for a good year. I've been a fan of him. He's had some injury issues. Another guy I have in the same tier, maybe probably higher. Yeah, I got him a little bit higher. Got him 5 spots higher on my list. But James Cook, I really like James Cook this year. I think that the more time goes on, the more they're going to want to make sure that Josh Allen runs a little bit less,
Yeah.
And so they're going to try to feed the running backs a little bit more to augment that running game. So I like James Cook. He's super talented and he's a good pass catcher too. Guys that are borderline, like you were saying, bell cows. Maybe they're not bell cows, but maybe they are. I think Ramondre is right there. I think people are worried about Zeke. I don't think that Zeke at this point in his career does anything individually better than Ramondre does. I think Ramondre is more talented at every aspect. So assuming he's healthy, I think he's going to get a lot. Timothy just mentioned Kenneth Walker. Kenneth Walker just was killing it last year before he tore up his knee. Obviously, you got to see how he comes back, but they did draft another guy. But Kenneth Walker, I mean, he was the best running back in college football 2 years ago. He was looking like one of the best running backs in the league last year before he got hurt. He is supposed to be healthy already, which is a good sign that he recovered quickly, still young. So I like Kenneth Walker. And then same goes for Breece Hall. Breece Hall was also dominant last year and in college. And if he's healthy, I mean, I know they're going to start him slow, they said. And obviously they got Dalvin Cook, but I mean, Breece Hall's the young guy. He's the guy for them.
Yeah, they're hoping that, right? But there's 2 guys I got. Actually, we need to jump into that question here. About Gibson and Brian Robinson Jr. There's a lot of debate on who's better here. So my personal opinion is I want Antonio Gibson in that one because I just think he's the more talented guy. I think that they want Brian Robinson to be the number 1 there, but this is the timeshare that you're wanting to avoid. And if you have both of them like you do, you're kind of praying that one of them gets hurt. Actually, you never pray about that. Never pray that someone gets hurt. But
but you're hoping that one of them's going to become the clear guy. And
exactly.
and obviously I'm torn on it too because I lean towards Robinson, but
okay, so Dakota, let's talk about that for a second because in the chat, Chris says Bieniemy prefers pass catching backs. That's why he's taking Gibson over Robinson. Why do you think that Robinson's better? Because I'm taking Gibson, you're taking Robinson. Tell me why you want Robinson more.
I'm always, when it comes to situations like that, I like the upside. So it's not always really Gibson's a little more experienced. He's done really well. Robinson, he seemed to come in last year and looked pretty good, and they seem to want to give him the ball, like you're saying, and that tells me in my mind that they like what they're seeing in practice and everything, and they want to get this guy going, and he's the young guy. Gibson's they know what they have in Gibson. They're more interested in seeing if they can get something better. So that makes me worried about how they feel about Gibson and makes me like Robinson. But again, it's such a toss-up. I don't think there's really a right or wrong answer.
Yeah. And then in the chat there, Lambo, I know I was roasting you about the trade offer, but I actually think the Rashad White sleeper in Tampa Bay, that's an excellent call.
Yeah, I would agree.
He's very underrated, especially in PPR leagues. I've targeted him in a whole bunch of leagues. So Lambo, good call on that one, man.
Yep, I've got him listed. I have my rankings. I highlight guys. One, I highlight cornerstones, who I think these guys are surefire hits, right? And that's usually your top couple guys, which I have is McCaffrey, Eckler, Barkley, Pollard, And then I put Bijan in there because just I think the workload's going to be there for him.
Mm-hmm.
But then I have guys that have, avoid at price or ADP. And then I've got guys that I say high upside at price. And then there's guys that are not highlighted where I just think roughly where they're falling is where they should fall. But I have Rashad White as high upside at price. So I think that he's being undervalued right now in leagues, and I like him.
Mm-hmm.
There we go.
In the chat there, sorry, Matt, there's that defensive question.
Yeah, I was going to bring that up.
Washington defense or the Cincinnati defense. That's defensive questions are tough because we don't really know. Like people say, it's strength of schedule. Well, I'm telling you right now, the Cardinals are so bad. You have to start Washington. That was a great pickup. Well done. Do not start Cincinnati at Cleveland. That would be, that's a terrible idea. So I know that you're asking this question. I'm all in on the Washington defense for week 1. That might be they might even be able to score 10 to 20 fantasy points for you. So definitely smash that Washington defense this week.
Oh, yeah, I would agree with that.
There you go. Yeah, we don't have defense in my league, which is good because I don't know how to pick them anyways. I was going to pick the Packers defense 4th round, but I was like, oh, we don't have defense, so I'm all right.
The Bears would be a good idea, but
yeah, it actually, I don't know. You never know how my rushing yard because I think that's what Justin Fields. I think that's what he's gonna. I don't feel like Justin Fields is actually. People are talking about like he's gonna pass for 4,000 yards and do all these things. Even when he's talking about rushing yards. Like that's what he's about. Like he's like, I'm gonna run, and I don't blame him because like if you can do something really good, why would you try to do something that you're not that good at?
Yeah.
I mean, I guess I do a podcast,
right?
So
you
don't gotta be good at something.
Yeah. This one will Buffalo's defense week 1. I think that's scary because you got Rodgers there. So I don't really want. I would.
And Rodgers actually played in the preseason this year. So,
right. Yeah. So Rodgers against Rodgers, I wouldn't.
And prime time Monday night, I feel like Rodgers usually does good.
And Rodgers is gonna be out like for blood. Like he's gonna like. I'm not saying like I don't know like what he's gonna do, but you're gonna get his best effort. Like he's not gonna go out there and lay an egg. His offensive line, I think is kind of sketchy. I don't know a lot about the Jets, but everyone talks about this offensive line. I saw some of the preseason games, but like not a ton. But Rodgers like with a chip on his shoulder, with people telling him. I mean, not that everyone's telling me he's gonna suck because a lot of people are picking the Jets to like do all these big things, but he's definitely all eyes on him. Rodgers doesn't hate that.
We know as fans.
We do, and I love me some Aaron Rodgers. That's why I don't like talking about him because anything you say about Rodgers, you're either you love Rodgers, anything he says is gold, or else it's like you hate him. Why are you so mean? Like it's so touchy since he left. I defended Rodgers for years on this thing, and then I made like one comment like, "You're just a Rodgers hater." Like I'm not, bro. I like.
Yeah, you can be honest, right?
Yeah, like I would.
No, I like you said, Rodgers is out for blood. He's gonna want to prove himself, and he knows it's a legacy thing right now for him, right?
Yep, and he talked about that.
That's what it comes down to for him. Obviously, the O-line's questionable, and that's going to cause concerns. I'm concerned about their wide receiver depth with Corey Davis retiring. You got Garrett Wilson, who looks like a great young receiver, but after that, we've seen what's after that as Packer fans. So it is a little concerning there, but I've never bet against Rodgers, so I still won't.
Dude, here's the thing with Rodgers is like the media hated Rodgers in Green Bay. They were like they trashed him. That's why I always had to defend him. I didn't have to. I just chose to. But like now he's in New York and they're like, oh, he's got this perfect team. They're bringing everyone from Green Bay. Like you didn't like that team when they were in Green Bay.
Yeah, no one liked Lazard and Cobb when they were here.
Yeah, but now they're over there, and which is fine. Like whatever, have a good time. But like I think it's weird how like I saw the media post like ESPN or whoever posted about Rodgers has lunch with different players every day. Oh, such a good teammate. I'm like, he did that in Green Bay. You guys drug him and told us that Jennings and Finley and all these, a few players say he's a bad teammate, so you drug him. You had a whole offseason where you just drug Rodgers through the dirt, but now he's in New York. Oh, it's good, such a good teammate. But let's see how they treat him after a couple weeks in, because the media, especially in New York, everyone's looking. In Green Bay, I think it's kind of the same. Everyone talks about the New York media, which obviously it's more people, but not like there's not eyes in Green Bay. I mean, there hasn't with two Hall of Fame quarterbacks, both a little bit controversial at the end. Not like the Green Bay is like minus any media people. Not as many.
I don't think I took the Rodgers stuff very hard because it was already painful when we went through it with Favre.
Yeah, it's like it's
it's more like I'm numb to it at this point. I'm like, I'm not even worried about it.
You know what it is? It's kind of
like I cried when Favre when all that happened. It's like now I'm like, you know what? It's part of the game.
It's kind of like you get engaged to be married, and like you get like maybe left at the altar or like right before the wedding, you guys just call it off, right? And then like your next girlfriend, like a month in, like steals your chair as she leaves. Like, yeah, I don't care.
Yeah.
The last lady embarrassed me in front of 300 people, so we're good here.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's a good embarrassment, but when you've been through it, you know what I mean?
Yeah. It's like, Matt, are we doing a therapy session right now?
No, I've never been left.
Yeah, that sounded like a very a true story there, but
my analogies go okay. No, I've only been married once, and we're still married.
Yeah, because she left you at the altar, the first one.
Yeah. I'm just saying, is like once you're through like something like with Favre was crazy. No one ever expected Favre to leave Green Bay. Like at that time, especially like now, it's not that crazy. Like now there's so many quarterbacks that left. Brady left, Favre left, Montana. You know, I mean that was before Favre, but still, like it's kind of like the norm.
It seems like it's gonna happen, and it's in like all the professional sports now. You know.
Yeah.
It's happened to all the guys. They end of their career at least, if not sooner, they end up on another team.
Mm-hmm.
But we do have another sit start, which I think is interesting from Lyle. DJ Moore or Debo, week 1. I like Debo just because, you know, they got more ways to get in the ball. Obviously, the concern there is Christian McCaffrey steals a lot of Debo's shine, right, with how they use Christian McCaffrey. I think that they're still going to be careful with McCaffrey just because of his history, that I think they're going to like to use Debo still in basically Debo's role. Mm-hmm. And I mean, maybe it's the homer in me, but I feel pretty good about our defense week 1 and not as great about Justin Fields throwing the ball to DJ Moore.
Yeah, I don't, go ahead.
That's a good question, though, because today is the day where every Bears fan is posting videos of DJ Moore toasting Jair when he was in Carolina. And it's like, well, he did a slant and he caught a ball. Like well done, guys. Like, I don't know what we can say here. Right? So this is the thing is I don't like, I do like DJ Moore as a wide receiver. I wish he came to Green Bay. I wish we would have ponied up and got him. He's a very good wide receiver, but like this idea that he's going to torch Jair in week 1, I just don't see it. You're gambling, and there's a reason why Debo got drafted higher in your league than DJ Moore. So I would just trust those fantasy guys who've kind of and all the fantasy players. There's a reason why they're doing that. For week 1, I would do what Dakota just said. So
there you go. But there we go. So like going forward, this show probably will be a little bit better as we get moving. And we all just met. Not that it was a bad show, but like as the games go on, there'll be
B+.
Yeah, there'll be more to talk about. Obviously, we'll start to get to know what people are doing. Maybe could have started like a week ago and started talking about draft stuff, but most people had to draft. There's a few drafts trickling in for the hardcore people. Like if you're drafting after today, you are a serious fantasy footballer, or you are just very slow. You're like, oh yeah.
You're like, crap, it's football season. I want to get in at least one draft.
I remember when like back in the day drafting, like people would have drafts like before like preseason. And then like someone would like, get some catastrophic injury. Like that was your first pick. Now it's like later and later, but when you're waiting to like the last minute, I feel like that puts you on like a whole nother level. Like you're like, no, I'm waiting till kickoff, week 1, 5 minutes
Well,
before
I
the
think
game.
I think all the sites too, they allow you to like draft after like week 2. Like,
Oh yeah, I think some do. Yeah,
some people will draft after a week or 2, which is just kind of ridiculous to me. I feel
that's
like that takes
weird.
a lot of the fun out of it, right? You now you're seeing what's going on, but
Yeah, I wouldn't do that. I mean, I guess I didn't think I was ever play fantasy again. Here I am.
We got you. I mean, they
you
got
just
you.
wanted to talk to us.
And then now now we got a show. But like going forward, everyone, stay tuned. We're gonna have a lot of fun stuff, and I think that this show's gonna be fun. I'm gonna learn a lot because I haven't played fantasy in a long time, and I've never thought about it. Right? I keep forgetting to put myself up when I talk. When you guys do it, I do, but I can't. No, I'm not selfish. You know, I'm about you people. I want to give you guys the camera time. But this is gonna be a fun show. Stay tuned. We're gonna have 4 shows a week. You know, I mentioned it earlier. It's on the bottom of the screen. You all know. But if you're watching on YouTube, Facebook, wherever, you can subscribe on the podcast. This will also be on the podcast, the audio version. And be sure to check out the description. Show these guys some love. Dakota Mitchell, my merch guy, and also has a ton of merch on his own, more than I have. We got RevTrev over here on YouTube. Be sure to check out his YouTube channel. In the description, and all year long, this is what you're gonna get. Us 3 pretend. You know, I'm gonna pretend like but by week 4, I'll start arguing and be like, nah, I don't know about that.
Well, and just a heads up, I know that this show is coming to an end here, but like I said, we're happy to help. So I just posted on my Twitter, RevTrevK. If you want some more help on your start and sit questions, I'd be happy to just send me a message on there, and I'd be happy to help you. So
yeah, definitely check him out. If you're on Twitter, RevTrev, he's gonna hook you up. And next week too, I plan on having like better segments because I want to see how this played out. But we'll have segments, and we'll have like one big segment. So during the live, I'll pin all the questions, and then at the end, we'll go through all the questions. So it's like in better order. But like today was getting to know you guys a little bit. I think I've talked to Dakota many times, but we never met. So I it's good.
Oh, and you might need a depression corner for your team. Like when if your team loses and you're like, "What? How did I lose?" We'll do. Okay, this is what we call sports depression.
Yeah,
and
like it'll be like week 5, and I haven't won a game yet, and I'm still doing this show. So who should I start? Does it matter, bro?
I last year in my most competitive league, one of my good friends, he was 0-7, and it wasn't because he drafted well. Didn't draft well because he didn't have a good team. He actually had a really good team. He just faced everyone's best for 7 weeks in a row, and it's like, what do you do with that?
Yeah,
so I made a video on it. I'm like, oh, man, like that would I would be hard for me.
No, I finished one of my leagues last year, my biggest money league, and as a keeper, I started 0-5, I think, and it was just either my guys got hurt right in the first quarter each week, or I just faced a really good team. I ended up still making the championship, so it could still happen. You just gotta put in the work.
It's kind of like even like real life right now. Like look at the Chiefs Lions game. Kelsey's out. I think that they're missing some other guys, and like everyone's like, well, the Lions are gonna get an easy one. They still got Patrick Mahomes, so I don't think anything's gonna be easy over there. But that's kind of how it is in fantasy. It's even more so because like you could have one guy that he's hurt just that 1 week that you really needed him,
or you just go up against the guy that when Tyreek put it up like 60 points or whatever, and it's like, well,
I had
doesn't matter what I did.
I started Sam Gatto that year that game he had 200 yards. And it's funny because everyone's like, you're a genius. I'm like, no, I'm really bad at fantasy football. I'm a homer. So I started the running back that played for the Packers, and he happened to pop off. You didn't see the other games I started where nobody did nothing. Anyways,
Matt, I noticed that I can tell that you've trolled some Bears fans in your time.
Oh,
because just in your little stuff that you've posted today about what's coming, I've been getting into massive arguments with guys on Bears fans. It's been so much fun. And I'm not a jerk usually when it comes to stuff like that. Like, I respect that someone likes another team, and I guess I do think the Bears suck, and I do want them to go 0-17. But at the end of the day, I respect that they like a team, even though it's not my favorite team. But like, if you're going to come at us, you got to come with facts, guys. You got to come with like, oh, I think the Bears are going to be amazing. Why? They have so many holes, right? Like you're not going to go from a 3-win team to 10 or 11, 12 wins. Like, give your head a shake, right?
Yeah, dude, so much so. Actually, I was supposed to have a Bears fan on at 6:30. We were gonna go live, but he didn't show up.
He didn't
respond to it. Yeah, he ghosted me. But he's a good guy. Maybe something came up.
Difference fantasy wise between Justin Fields and like Anthony Richardson? Because Justin Fields is going high, Anthony Richardson's going low. But I mean, both pretty poor arms and good running quarterbacks.
Yeah. I love what they're saying in the chat here. You can tell these are Packers faithful. Bears still suck. They need to stop talking about 1985. Preach it, bro. Preach it.
Dude, that's what it did. I love trashing the Bears, but like you said, like, it's never personal. I don't do personal attacks.
Right.
I'll trash your team, and I'll and even I don't know. I just think it's fun. And like, Bears fans and all different type of fans like tag me and like memes about the Packers. If it's funny, I'll laugh. Like, it's not that serious. Like, I like my team, you like your team. Let's argue about it a little bit.
Yeah,
but like,
okay.
I'm not gonna like argue, like yell. And I have a rule too. Like, if I'm arguing about something on social media, like, I think this or that, the next day I won't talk about it anymore. I try not to talk about anything from the previous day. People will argue about something for like 4 days in my comment section, and I was like, I don't want to do that. I'll give you 1 day. The sun goes down, we're done. I can't come back. I can't wake up in the morning being mad about something.
Mm-hmm.
But especially in the off season. Anyways, we'll wrap this thing up so you guys get back to your lives. But every week we'll be on this thing, 8 p.m. every Tuesday, talking fantasy football. These guys are going to help you win your league. And if you want to hit them up, RevTrev on Twitter. And if you can't find it, hit me up. I'll send you his way. He can help you out. And in Dakota, he's got the merch. And he's got the fantasy stuff too. But maybe he doesn't want you DMing him.
I'm Dak Mitch. You can talk to me too.
You know what's funny? In my head, I always called you Dak. And I was like, oh, I don't know if you'd like that because you're Twitter. And I was like,
that was the nickname I was given as a kid, and I didn't like it then. But as I got older, I think it's okay.
I think it's a good nickname, but I wasn't sure because that quarterback plays over there.
Yeah, well, I try to remind people that 1, his name is Rain, and 2, I'm older than him, so I'm the real Dak. So.
Oh yeah, so you were here first.
Don't get it twisted.
You know what I mean? Anyways, Here you go. Okay, I'm just gonna end this. I was gonna put that video on. I can't find. Oh no, here it is. There we go. Peace out, people.